If you like what you see, please subscribe and like James's channel. Also, don't forget to click the bell icon so you'll be notified of future train videos.
Oh, hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at a couple of Broadway limited locomotives. These are the Light Pacific and Heavy Pacific Paragon 3 locomotives. So they are the most recent released. We've got Western Maryland and Canadian National to take a look at. So let's go ahead and get started now. I know I said Western Maryland on the intro, but I think I'm going to unbox the Red and Blue Mountain because this is the most up-to-date scheme of that locomotive. And there's some new stuff in the package. Talks about being careful when you open, which people get on me all the time for not being careful handling these locomotives. And you've got the manual with 28 full functions as well. And inside is this excursion locomotive that operates up in the eastern part of the US. And this is the second time they've released Red and Blue Mountain, but the first time they've released it in this scheme, which is an updated version and what is currently on the rails up there on that excursion railroad. Also traction tires and a tool, by the way. See how I'm trying to be a little more careful now that Broadway Limited has reminded me to be careful. But everything's already all hooked up together, locomotive and tender, so let's take a closer look. Alright, so in the front is a Light Pacific, and that's the Reading and Northern. And in the back, Canadian National, a Heavy Pacific. So Light Pacific, Heavy Pacific, latest run of Broadway limited locomotives with some variations that we'll go ahead and point out to you. Now, I've reviewed these before, not these schemes or this run, but I've reviewed these before, so this is going to be a quick product demonstration more than a review. I don't know what I'll actually label it because I sometimes do that weeks or months after I record, but we'll look at some differences. So 425 on here, and some of the basic boiler dimensions are the same, but when you start looking at the boiler dome widths and sand dome location, things like that between the two, you can see some differences. Alright, here's an aerial view. Smokestack, different heights. We had a bell fly off somewhere. So we're just talking about me handling stuff, and I did a bad job there, but so be aware of that when you're handling things. But there's some differences between the locomotives there, and then obvious paint scheme differences, sometimes pilot detail differences as well. As we look at the tenders are pretty much the same, but those are some of the key differences. I'm going to go ahead and pull Reading and Northern 425 to do a little more up-close looks at and some tests as well. Well, look what I found over there, the bell. It just went flying, located it. Perfect public service announcement to actually pay attention and be careful, unlike what I did. Typical guy, I don't pay attention to instructions, even though I read them for you. I was not paying attention. Okay, Reading Northern 425. There are builder's plates on the side, nice smoke box door. The bell, which on this one did not move. Smokestack, different height than the Heavy Mikado, as the Heavy Mikado has some differences overall. Also, on this locomotive, we got all the side rod detail and firebox detail. Lots of rivet detail on that firebox. Gonna go back here now. Up top, you can see the dynamo, which is positioned right in front of the cab. And then you have fixed cab. Fixed? No, not fixed. You can open and close the cab roof vents. So that's pretty cool as well. Sorry if that was just out of view. I'll do it again for you. But the cab roof vents do move, and there is a lot of cab roof detail, including all the rivets, which I'll show you real quick. We reposition here. Also, drop step is nice and even. I like that. Sometimes from different companies, you got a drop step that's like this because the tender deck is higher and it doesn't level off. That is nice and even, so an actual little HO scale crew could walk back there. Speaking of little HO scale crews, you do have 2 cab figures installed again. So BLI at one time stopped installing cab figures, and they are back. And this is all the plumbing I was talking about in the firebox area. And there is some backhead detail that's going to be hard to see, but it is in place there on the back of the locomotive as well. Try to show you on the heavy Mikado or something. 425, nice and legible. Reading Northern, nice and legible. And that new updated RB, M, and N, the road of anthracite. So, I don't know. It's just an excursion locomotive at this point. It operates up in the east, like we mentioned. Water hatches on the back, along with crew access ladder as well. And there are couplers on the back and front, so you can hook that up to whatever consist you wish. You can see on the wheels, there's that nice silver lining on the wheels. And that's on the drivers as well. And there's all that plumbing below the walkway up front. So that's a pretty quick view of the light Mikado, the Reading and Northern. Alright, I've went ahead and disconnected the tender on the heavy Mikado so you can see the boiler backhead detail, including the butterfly doors, some of the plumbing that's all molded into the back, and don't forget about those 2 crew figures that I mentioned that are seated. You can also see the male and female pin connector that's already connected up here. That's how you disconnect the tender if you wish, for maintenance, upgrades, detailing, etc. The windows are fixed in position on the locomotive, but again, the roof vents that you can see at the top of your screen do move. Alright, so for Broadway Limited startup is F9. Now, boiler diameter is not big enough to have smoke in this. I know Broadway Limited has smoke in a lot of their locomotives and synchronized puffing smoke at that, but there's no smoke in this. And I didn't realize that was the extended startup, or I would have shut up, but you hear basically guy getting in the locomotive, turning some valves, locomotive comes to life. Then you hear the dynamo fire up, it spools up, and that powers the headlight. Alright, F1, bell. F2, whistle. F22 will fire or activate the alternate whistle. And F3's coupler slack. You have to kind of move it in order to get that. F4's air pump. F5's blowdown when stopped, or increased chaff when moving. F5's blowdown again. F6 is water fill. So those are just some of the functions. And the higher functions, you have background sounds too. Like I said, we covered this before in an earlier review. This is a later release, so I want to make sure we go ahead and cover some of the other functions. We'll go ahead and move this at slow speed. There's one speed step. It's moving quite quickly at 1, 2, through the chuff, 3, 4, and forward, You can see the headlight. I'll kill some light so you can see it a little better. It's got good color temperature. It's LED. There's one. There's two. Three. 4. And 5. So smooth and a quick operation out of the forward and reverse. A lot of my testing tools are put away for the move, but I still have a pull test. We'll check that real quick. And it's capping out at, keeps going. Looks like it's capping out at about 6.7 ounces. So that's over 90 cars in HO scale standard freight, so it can pull plenty, as all Broadway limited steam and diesels tend to do. Alright, well, if you have any questions about the light or heavy Mikados, be sure to check out my full review that was done on the most recent Paragon 3 release prior to this. This is just another release and a couple other locomotives we're going to take a look at. I'm going to leave you with a run by of these, and I'll see you next time right here on my channel. Take care.